In summer of 1999 in Belgium, thousands of people were reported ill after drinking Coca-Cola, and it went down in history as a fatal disaster.
Hundreds of people, including school-going children, were reported ill after drinking Coca-Cola in Bornem state of Belgium.
On June 8, 1999, a small school in the Belgian town of Bornem started its day like any other day. Everything is going smoothly as usual. But by lunchtime, chaos erupted. A handful of students complained of dizziness, nausea, and abdominal pain. Teachers assumed it was a bug, but when more students exhibited similar symptoms within hours, alarm bells rang. Some were rushed to the hospital, pale and struggling to breathe. Parents were called in panic. Medical staffs noticed one disturbing pattern among all the sick children, that they had consumed Coca-Cola that day. Elsewhere, a similar scene unfolded in Bruges city of Belgium. Workers at a factory complained of a strange smell emanating from their Coca-Cola cans. Soon after drinking, they too fell ill. They reported symptoms like headaches and stomach cramps. In less than 24 hours, over 30 cases were reported across Belgium, and the common denominator is Coca-Cola. The situation quickly spiraled out of control. By June 10th, reports of illness skyrocketed, with over 100 people hospitalized. News outlets picked up the story, dubbing it the Coca-Cola crisis. The government authorities were baffled. Was it food poisoning, sabotage, a chemical leak? The mystery deepened itself, and the nation held its breath. Supermarkets pulled Coca-Cola products from their shelves. Cafes and restaurants stopped serving it. Parents warned their children to avoid the drink. Coca-Cola, once a household name, was now associated with fear. In a desperate attempt to reassure the public, Coca-Cola issued a statement claiming the incidents were isolated and not linked to a broader issue. But their words fell on deaf ears. As more cases emerged, rumors swirled. Some speculated it was a terrorist attack, targeting one of the world's most recognizable brands. Others suspected a factory contamination or a conspiracy by competitors. The Belgian government intervened, ordering an immediate recall of all Coca-Cola products nationwide. But Coca-Cola didn't listen. The company downplayed the severity of the issue and started attributing the illnesses to psychosomatic reactions, means all these illnesses were caused by just mental distress. This response was heavily criticized by the people and made the matters worse. Critics accused the company of prioritizing profits over consumer safety. Some even started protesting against the Coca-Cola. Facing mounting pressure, Coca-Cola launched one of the largest product recalls in its history, pulling 30 million cans and bottles from the market. The financial toll was staggering, but the reputational damage was far worse. The government launched a full-scale investigation involving toxicologists, chemists, and public health experts. Coca-Cola's own team of scientists scrambled to find the source of the problem. Douglas Ivester was the company's CEO at the time, flew to Belgium to personally address the crisis. He assured the public that Coca-Cola was conducting rigorous tests and cooperating with authorities. Coca-Cola was now in full-blown damage control mode. Initially, investigators were baffled. The company had a strong safety record, and there had never been a major health issue related to its products. Local health officials in Belgium, along with Coca-Cola's internal quality control team, began investigating the problem. The first step was to trace the affected products and isolate any common factor. It was quickly established that the incidents were tied to a batch of Coca-Cola products that had been distributed in Belgium, primarily in vending machines and retail stores. Bottles from the batch in question were collected, and health authorities conducted laboratory tests to determine if any contaminants or foreign substances were present. The breakthrough came when researchers discovered a chemical imbalance in the affected batch of Coca-Cola products. They found that certain carbon dioxide cartridges, which were used in the carbonation process, had been contaminated. This contamination was caused by a mixture of carbon dioxide and a chemical compound called ethylene glycol, a substance that typically used in antifreeze. Ethylene glycol is highly toxic when ingested, even in small amounts. It can cause symptoms similar to those reported by the affected individuals like nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and, in severe cases, it can lead to organ failure. But how did it end up in Coca-Cola bottles? According to Coca-Cola's internal investigations, it was due to a malfunction in the carbonation system. This particular plant had been using an older system to inject carbon dioxide into the bottles. Instead of being pure CO2, some of the gas had been contaminated with ethylene glycol, which had come from a nearby storage tank. The failure to properly test the gas before it was injected into the bottles caused thousands of bottles containing ethylene glycol. Fortunately, none of the cases proved fatal, but the psychological scars lingered. Many were left traumatized by the experience. The company later admitted that the problem had been linked to poor quality control measures, compounded by human error. The company revamped its entire quality control process, introducing stricter safety protocols and a more advanced testing system to ensure that such a disaster could never happen again. Today, the Belgium crisis is studied in business schools and crisis management courses worldwide. It served as a stark reminder that no company, no matter how big, is immune to failures.